Hello?
Hello.
It's our truth expert, Evan. I was just reading a long-winded message on Skype there, but I'll have that person on Wednesday night on trends in the housing market. Okay, buddy. Before we kick it off, how are things? You doing okay?
Oh, everything's fine here. They've cleaned up the entire island's worth of driftwood, and all the trains are on time again. Everything's fine.
For people that don't know, Evan is in Hong Kong, and there was a huge hurricane there. And,
another one coming.
Oh, I remember when you were in the middle of the hurricane when you called us?
Oh, that was great fun.
Okay, let's kick off. Brett Kavanaugh's. What's your perspective on this, buddy? Tell me.
Okay, let's cut at this onion a few ways. First thing, if you listen to the female, if you can call them that, testimony, a lot of them don't make sense. They're missing a lot of details, of course. You know, I wasn't there. I can't remember a single thing, but I know he did it. You know, that kind of thing. And really, the last one, that woman, the one with the bespectacled woman, or man, hard to tell. But anyway, according to her testimony, she was 2 years older than him. Therefore, she would be breaking the law, not him, at the time. But people don't pay attention to that, nor do they pay attention to, immediately at the same time, funnily enough, while everyone was busy with Kavanaugh, is the tax cuts. Tax cut 2.0, $3.9 billion lost, trillion, add three more zeros, lost over 10 years. Tax breaks for the rich. Did you know that, Mike? I sent it to you, by the way.
Yes, see, I did look it over, but I was very tired because our time differences are huge.
Oh, yes, most certainly. But they always do that. Whenever there's a national story, anything very big, there's always something else in the background without fail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just like that, what the Pentagon got hit by a plane and it hit all the computers where that trillions of dollars went missing?
Well, hold on a minute. They've changed their story on that. If you recall, at the beginning of that story, nobody was there, and it was being renovated. What a coincidence. And Donald Rumsfeld was on the Pentagon lawn. Within 2 minutes of it happening, he must be able to run pretty quick, because it's quite a distance. But with that stretcher, if you recall. And he was the one who allegedly sold plutonium to North Korea in that deal in the, I believe it was the 70s at the time. But, you know, a lot of things tend to intertwine, don't they? Especially 9/11, you know, Building 7. No one talks about 9/11 anymore because it's not popular. You know, everyone's talking about identity and race. But 9/11 still happened the way they said it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Building 7 collapsed due to carpet fire, and the BBC reported on it 20 minutes before it had collapsed. That tells me that either they knew in advance or they have very good time machines. And I think it might be prior knowledge, if I were to be honest.
Yeah, I'm working. Okay. So now, Mr. Kavanaugh, did you watch that 45-minute thing I sent you?
Oh, yes. It goes on, doesn't it?
But I mean,
a lot of facial expressions and a lot of tears, Mike. It's as if they're trying to make you feel emotional.
I was very emotional watching that, and you know why?
Oh, they got you, Mike.
They got me, but you know what? This guy, this trashing of politicians, especially the ones that want to make the change for the best, they got to stop trashing these people. Why aren't they looking at all other things? So, okay, let's move on to this. Kavanaugh chaos must be putting a smile on Willie Clinton's face.
Yes, I suppose, because everyone's falling for it. All the people in the system would be smiling while everyone's distracted. But I mean, back to Kavanaugh. I mean, the only reason they made a show is because it sucked people in. You get several results from that. First, people aren't watching the tax law go through that, you know, cripples middle income businesses. But the other thing you're not paying attention to, whoa, almost fell out of the chair. It's very exciting here, Mike. I almost fell out of my chair. But anyway, because it was so exciting. But I'm half in my chair now, just as a play-by-play report. But anyway, what was I saying? monkey do. It encourages those sort of false accusations, like you had with that mattress girl, which was a farce, and all the other feminist talking points that they have been pushing heavily lately to get everyone to shut up and not talk about anything, to destroy social discourse. Imagine if you're a man in politics. What's his name, the Vice President, Mike Pence?
Yes.
He doesn't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how he's a politician anymore.
He's a very tough nut to crack. That guy, it's hard to get a smile out of him. But if you start sewing or start putting the quilt together, you start completing the puzzle here. Because I just found this out today because I didn't know this. 20 years ago, Brett Kavanaugh drafted tough questions for Bill Clinton. So he was the one, Washington, 20 years ago, sitting U.S. President Bill Clinton was ordered to answer a series of excruciating questions about this sexual relationship with a 22-year intern. So do you think it's lash against him?
Okay, I'm going to throw something even more interesting out there, Mike. Still Bill Clinton related. Remember when Bill Clinton had to admit MK Ultra?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
What was his facial expression like when they got caught? Whenever the bad guys actually get caught, it's all smiles. He had a smile the entire time, even though he was mentally torturing thousands upon thousands of people under his watch. Yep. He was just the PR guy. Mm-hmm. And Kavanaugh would have been the PR guy for the current distraction. They run PR really well, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the next one.
Yes.
So Brett Kavanaugh, FBI contacts second woman. Okay, this is something, some sort of a recourse. Now, when they go through all this and the lie detectors, this and all that, are these people going to be charged for treason or something? Like,
no, not at all, Mike. Because think about it. Here's a good question for you. It's totally related yet unrelated. Where's ISIS gone? Remember ISIS?
Yes.
No one talks about that.
This
is flavor of the week, Mike.
Isn't it ISIL or
they change flavor all the time. Doesn't really matter, Mike. But the thing is, they're only on the TV when it's convenient for their agenda. Kavanaugh's only on the TV now because it's convenient for their agenda. They can get a lot of social policy and narrative out of spinning him, whether or not he's innocent, guilty, or totally uninvolved. It doesn't really matter. They still use him as a tool, as an engine to drive their agenda. Interesting.
Okay, someone in the comment section is saying, Mike, will we talk about real estate soon after politics? Guys, just so you know, guys, Saturday nights is Mike in the Night. I think Formafist is doing a show. I could see it here. He's going to be going live. So if you want to jump on real estate, go check out our second channel, Formafist, and he is got an important show for you guys. So we're going to stick with our truth analyst here, and we're going to be discussing this polka dancing or this drama or this, I don't even know how to put it, shenanigans.
Punch and beauty.
Yep, shenanigans in the thing
hold on, Mike. Just in regards to the comments, I know Kevin Thompson's a nice fella. He's got this biscuit factory he's paying off, but he's quite literally staring everybody. Kevin, if you're there, you should get on the show and defend yourself one day. That'd be nice. You should get him on, Mike.
I've been trying. I keep reaching his secretary.
Well, the problem, you see, every time you try to get him on, he's already had a biscuit, so he's useless. Poor Kevin.
Yeah. Okay. So, no punishment. Okay.
No punishment. No. Only reward for them who control the media.
Okay. So apparently now Brett Kavanaugh accuser face misconduct allegations at Portland company. Apparently she's done some bad in a Portland company, one of the accusers against him.
Won't surprise. They'll have both sides playing off against each other, so you've got this constant divide where everyone is still focused on the same topic. It's really about controlling where you're looking, Mike. That's the main thing. Remember that guy, Strzok? He's got a really funny name. You know, the evil smiling guy who had the Senate Commission FBI guy, and he had the cheeky little smile on his face.
Yeah.
He was no one talks about him either, and he hasn't been held accountable. Yeah, Bill Clinton, no one talks about him until he's dragged out in his wheelchair. You know, no one's been held accountable. Bush hasn't been held accountable. No one's held accountable, Mike. What a surprise. It's as if the same pattern repeats itself.
But everyone's committing high treason. It's like...
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah, but they don't fight each other. They work together. Remember, it's a puppet show, Mike, as you said.
Yeah, and so it's
Your
like...
words, not mine.
Professional wrestling or WWF. In the back, they're all friends, and then they're putting on...
Who shaved Vince McMahon's head? Donald Trump. He was in WW.
That's right.
Are you going to give him a free pass, Mike? Hope not. I wouldn't give anyone a free pass. Trust nobody. Make up your own mind, as your first caller said. But then he talks about politics. So I don't know. If you're making up your own mind, then why are you waiting for a politician to tell you what to think? You know, it doesn't really make sense. But that's my 2 cents on politics anyway, Mike.
Okay,
it's quite interesting.
I need your input on this. Faith Goldie getting ushered off stage and not allowed to speak.
How controversial do you want me to go, Mike?
Well, I mean, she's basically telling. Okay, every politician's going to tell what they want to tell people what they want to hear. Okay?
That's right.
But I really think in my heart of hearts that this girl really wants to change. Like, for real. Like, I know we've heard this from many politicians, but I really believe in her. I really believe in her that she could do what she can within her boundaries. Because as a mayor, you're very limited on what you could do with funding, surpluses. You got loans, collateral. After collateral, you got to look at what you have left over in contingency funds. So there's quite a bit of there's very little she could try to do as much as possible, but what's left in the contingency funds is almost nothing once you pay the city's debt off and whatever the city owes and whatever loans it's got. So I know she wants to do the best she could do. Why are they blocking her out so bad that they had to refund her back her campaign money so she could advertise in the local papers?
Well, Mike, here's the question. If she was really being blocked, you wouldn't hear anything about her. You'd be an unperson, right? There'd be no news stories running about her, yet there are. So the act of being blocked hasn't really blocked her necessarily. In fact, it's created what would you call it, the alternate media to rally around her, giving everyone more publicity, not unlike Kavanaugh, everyone being distracted by the drama. YouTube people do it all the time. They have fake fake issues with people, and then they have this YouTube argument about it, and all it does is herd in more sheep, if that makes sense, Mike. Mm-hmm. Lots of sheep being herded today. Bad shepherds. All leaving the church, all going to their false idols, Mike. Mm-hmm. Faith Goldie, the bronze statue.
Well, guys, I just want to say, I got her Facebook up here. Guys, how come you're not here? I don't see you here, Evan.
On Faith Goldie. I've got to stick to Ephesians 5, Mike, and expose the liars.
That's true. That's true. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Yeah. So this is her getting a refund back. That's her with the mayor of... they're calling her a white nationalist now. Okay, I got this one for you, and I didn't even tell you about... Right. I did not tell you about this. So,
okay, it must be a good one.
Oh, this is a good one, but this is actually... It kind of hurts a bit, because I have children. And it says... Liberal propaganda. CBC launches kids' new shows covering transgenderism marijuana. So now the CBC, which is like the CNN of Canada, they have like a new kids show, new kids news for kids, for children.
Okay, yes. They've done that a few times. It comes out every 5 or so years, the new kids stuff.
And how does it? What does it strike a chord with you? Because I got kids. How do you?
Course.
So tell us. Break it down.
You don't let them watch TV. You control what they watch. Don't let the TV control what you watch. first thing, you've got to have responsibility as a parent, of course. You should see what they're seeing before they see it. If you're to guard them, it's like food. If you know there's poison in food, you won't let the child eat it. If there's poison on television, which most assuredly there is at every possible angle, you wouldn't let them watch it. But, I mean, transgender marijuana plants, you might get Kevin Thompson interested talking about such a subject.
So this is scary. It's very scary.
It is. But it's top to bottom. I mean, the TV, even if you look at old television, you'll see what they've hidden in it. It's very obvious once you know. And then you go, gee whiz, I used to watch this garbage. There's a cartoon on Cartoon Network. It's a cross-dressing schoolboy who uses lipstick powers and he dresses in a dress. And, almost all of them have that. You look at Ren and Stimpy, it's not for kids. You look at anything on Nickelodeon, not for kids. It's designed for the perverted people who make it. Buy into it, they will use you too, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
you become an accessory. Remember, I mean, you said that I don't care what people do as long as they don't hurt anybody, but what if someone does the wrong thing, doesn't hurt anybody, but you know they've done the wrong thing? Your charge, as I understand it, Mike, and mine as well, anyone who's a Christian, is to warn the man of their wicked ways, otherwise you're culpable at the day of judgment, Mike. So you'd have to tell him. I have to tell him. Can't help myself.
You're like, yeah, but you were confirmed, right?
Very popular, I can tell you.
Evan, were you baptized?
No. Baptized by fire and misery. That's about all, Mike.
Okay.
We could argue theology, but this is Mike in the Night. I think your theological show's on Monday.
Yes. Yeah, theological show is on Mondays, but I never show up.
That's right. Too busy.
Okay. So, breaking news. Elon Musk settles with SEC, will stay on as CEO, but step aside as chairman. What is going on? I know there's alleging frauds going on with the SEC and different things in securities agencies that's happening. Have you followed this at all, Evan?
Very much so. You'd be surprised, but I follow Mike. But this is how I would explain it to you. CEOs are changing hands all at the same time. Commonwealth Bank CEO just changed. Westpac CEO is about to change. Monadelphous in Australia and the UK is about to change their CEO. Oh, no, they already did. And now Elon Musk, right when they can't fulfill any of their orders, not unlike what Harley-Davidson did. If you remember the Harley-Davidson, they had 500,000 bikes that weren't built yet but were ordered. And they just took them up and more or less ran. I mean, they're terrible bikes anyway. They've still got the death wobble from the 60s. Figure that one out. They never solved the problem. But the point is, as the company's in trouble, as the company's struggling to meet its demands, they're moving Musk out of the way so they can have a new fall guy, same as the Australian Prime Minister. No one even knows his name. What's the Australian Prime Minister's name that wasn't voted in by anybody, but they just swapped hands? Do you remember, Mike? Yeah, it's hard to remember. Scott Morrison, no one remembers his name.
No, that's
Gordon
right.
Gordon Brown.
That blew over my head. I'm thinking, I know what you're talking about, but I just don't remember the guy's name or face.
No, he's the nobody that will be the fall guy. That's the thing. It's a public relations scam from top to bottom. They want to control your mind and make you believe that these politicians have your best interest at heart. They say, I am for the people, but I was trained at a Jesuit college. Then again, Donald Trump was trained at a Jesuit college. So we'll have to see how he goes too.
Okay, so that's what's happening with that. Change of hands. Oh, working on it. One of our followers here.
That's the lady.
Yeah, she's over here working on it. She's got a channel, guys. I did not know she had a channel. I would have plugged her channel a long time ago. I did not know. So here she is. She's on the phone with me sometimes. I get her on the show from time to time. We did the video together called Deadminton. Edmonton is becoming Deadminton. And, there's her channel there. Okay, so let's give us a little bit of an analysis, Evan. What do you see? What do you think? Did you watch my predictions for the next quarter?
Well, I could sum them up in one word. 2 words. I'll make it 2 words, Michael. Sum it up in 2 words. Not good. Is that the prediction?
Well, no, I was predicting that oil was going to go up, and
it's going to. Well, here's the thing. Yesterday in Australia, in Western Australia, just as an example, the fuel prices jumped about 5 cents, which is unheard of. Doesn't happen. And in Australia, when the fuel prices go up and down, this is interesting. The news will come out and spin it and say, "Oh, it's the fuel cycle." Right?
mm-hmm.
Whatever that means. It's just a buzzword. Doesn't mean anything. This magic fuel cycle. But now it's gone up 5 cents. They haven't said anything about this cycle anymore. It's as if it were only a convenient excuse to shut people up. Like most things are.
Okay, so do you see the price of oil going up?
It'll have to, won't it? Because you'll have depreciating values in Western countries. They might change supplier. I mean, Venezuela, it seems like they're going to send a political jackal in to finish them off. And then I don't know if it will be American occupation or they'll just put another dictator in like they did with Muhammad Karzai in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because global tensions... Global tensions. What's on your radar right now? What's the biggest global tension right now outside of all this media mumbo jumbo crap that's all over the place and people pointing fingers at each other? Evan, in your heart of hearts, what is the biggest political tension that no one's looking at?
Lies, Mike. That's what they're not looking at. Well, they're looking at them, but they don't know they're lies. Biggest political tension would be
global tension. Global tension.
Oh, food.
Yeah.
Food price.
Yeah.
It's going to be the easiest one. Because everyone's interdependent. I can buy cheaper, top quality Australian beef here, all organic, all pasture raised, for cheaper than the worst quality steaks you'll buy in the supermarket in Australia. And it won't have sulphur all over it, so it's grey on one side and pink on the other. And we get the better cut here, and the Australians are left with nothing. Do you know how much ginger costs in Australia, Mike?
It must be up there if you're asking me.
Well, per kilo, how much do you think it's worth? And it's gone up, by the way, but on average, what do you think it's worth?
A kilo of ginger? Good ginger?
Regular ginger. Worst ginger you can imagine.
Okay, $65 a key?
Oh, okay. Pretty accurate guess. I was surprised. But you know, it's a weed. It grows everywhere. Mm-hmm. But you're not allowed to pick it yourself. Health department will come along and say, "Do you have a license, mate?" And you won't have a license, of course. So they'll take your ginger away and fine you thousands of dollars. I could tell you some restaurant stories, mate. I was a chef before, once upon a time. Mm-hmm. And we used to have tubs of meat, 40-kilo tubs of meat, all frozen. They get delivered in these containers, high-density polyethylene. And, of course, they've got legs to stand on the floor. Obviously, the meat's not touching the floor. Health department comes in and says, "Those are touching the floor. Those aren't clean anymore." And you say, "Okay, what if I put this piece of paper under each leg?" "Oh, that would be fine." "Okay, I'll do that." "No, sorry, you've already broken the rules. We're stealing your stock, and here's a $20,000 fine."
Wow.
Kind of
wow.
Well, harnesses, Mike. You want to climb in a roof, you have to put a harness on or else. And it's more dangerous to put the harness on than to actually do the job. All sorts of things I could tell you. Regulated into the ground, but then you've got foreign countries. I mean, Hong Kong, we still use bamboo scaffolding because it works.
Okay.
And bamboo.
Okay. So, what is in your opinion? Give us some insight. What else? What else do we have for global tensions? What do you see happening? I know you're in Hong Kong, but do you hear about what's happening in the South China Sea with the island China creating these war islands?
Yes. Well, they're artificial islands. They scuttle ships and then they use seeding to enhance coral growth so you get a mineralization, and then they can call it an island, then they can plant their flag in it, and they can take it over. But on the other side of the South China Sea, you've got Singapore stealing islands to get the sand off them. There's a very good documentary called Sand Smuggling, where they can quite literally pump the sand off these Indonesian islands and these Philippine islands that are unguarded, and then they use that for their foundations and land reclamation. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I saw that documentary. I saw that. I got some images up here of them scooping out some of the sand. And
well, they do it at a massive scale, Mike. It's colossal. Islands gone in a day, you know.
So they basically plant the flag and extend their military reach.
Yes, that's all it's for, territorial claim. But, I mean, people don't respect those anyway. Look at Australia's fishing waters. Australians aren't allowed to fish in their own waters, like commercially. Privately, there are high restrictions. But the Japanese or the Indonesians or the Vietnamese can bring their boats all the way along and fish whatever they like, unrestricted, because they're immune to our laws, aren't they?
Wow.
Isn't that funny? And the fish price.
Do you see the devaluing currency of the yuan?
Not yet. Not yet. I think Australia will crash, and that will give them impetus to keep the yuan where it is, because then they can buy out more things with a stronger yuan, can't they?
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, China has their finger in almost every single pocket, and they've got that One Belt, One Road initiative. They can go by train directly to Spain from China now, with freight trains.
Is that working now? Is that assembled? Is that good to go? Or is that...
A year ago they had that. But, I mean, they can't do it in Australia because even the states in Australia can't agree on a single railway gauge. So you've got narrow gauge in Queensland, standard gauge in New South Wales, wide gauge in Western Australia. So you can imagine how inefficient, it would be for the Chinese if they sent the railway to Australia. You'd have to change hands at every line.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Talk about efficient.
So,
but the Chinese don't want to get all the way to Vladivostok via Russia.
Wow. So,
and the Russians want to get that island that's right next to Japan. So you could even have, which they're proposing, the 70-mile bridge across from Vladivostok to the neighboring islands in the Kamchatka Sea.
Wow. That must be... Why don't they just tunnel it out? Why don't they just go underwater?
I guess the reason why they use a bridge is because it's obviously deep enough already. You can't have a tunnel if it's too deep. And there is a narrower point. Like if you look at the map where the island is off Vladivostok, it's if you've been to Vladivostok, very nice place, beautiful weather, very nice people. Mm-hmm. Come to Australia, horrible place, horrible weather. Everyone's on drugs. But no, the depth, they need to have a certain depth to lay their pillars.
Okay.
That's the only. It's going to be a 6-lane double railway super bridge, and then you got the ones in Italy just collapsing because we've just got to feed those migrants. Humanitarian issue, blah blah blah. They say just got to feed everybody in Italy.
I have a friend on the ground there in just outside of Rome, maybe 20 kilometers outside of Rome, and he's telling me that everybody around him, like everybody on the streets, everyone panhandling, everyone selling food on the streets, the restaurants are having a really tough time because everyone's buying cheap food on the streets and not going into the restaurants to eat. And he's telling me that everybody around him is from Bangladesh.
Does not surprise me. But here's the question. Last time I checked a map, Mike, Bangladesh was east of India. So... I don't remember Italy being next to India. Do you remember that, Mike?
Yeah, I see Bangladesh here. I see. Yeah. So I'm not sure. How do they get there?
They fly there. They've got agencies for this sort of thing. They get flown there, and then they say, "I'm a refugee. UN, protect me." And the government, of course, is very obliging. But if they came from Russia or the Ukraine or anywhere in Eastern Europe, like the Bosnians, for example. From Sarajevo, for example. Someone flies from Sarajevo, go back to your own country, immediately deported. Mm-hmm. Double standards, most certainly. Because they're following the Kleurdenhof-Kalergi plan, which is to make everyone coffee-coloured in the new millennium, so that you have no national identity and everyone's just a big grey mess. Isn't that lovely, Mike?
It is.
But then you've got the lady in Sweden, what was it, Margaret Spector, I think her name was. Mm-hmm. And she says, we're going to erase the European identity, and we Jews. Now, when they talk about Jews, there are two types of Jews. You don't want to get into Jews unless you want to get flagged, Mike. Mm-hmm. But the basis of it was people with influence, who may or may not be Jewish, deliberately pushing the discourse towards importing all these immigrants, which they have. They've already done that. That was a very old interview too. Mm-hmm.
I have a person that I want to have on the show from Stockholm, Sweden. He wants to come on the show and kind of give us a little bit of insight on what's happening there on the ground. And,
they've got the no-go zones, and all the migrants seem to have hand grenades for some reason, but the local people can't get hand grenades. How are they getting these hand grenades and all these weapons?
But isn't a hand grenade considered a military-grade issued weapon?
Yes, it is. Yes, a fragment grenade is military issue. But, then you've got the police in America, can't use hollow points, but do.
Okay. But do you think it could be somebody could have raided a barracks somewhere?
I doubt it. I'm pretty sure. You think about it, in Canada, you've got the pot being circulated by police, more or less. In Australia, you've got the same thing. They seize the drugs, redistribute them with their moles, and the cycle is rinse and repeat. So, it wouldn't surprise me if weapons are any different. The British supplied people with weapons, all the manufacturers, all the major NATO countries constantly arming people. Good film, Nicolas Cage, Lord of War. That's a good one. Talks about Liberia, kind of gives you a truthful version of events in a fictitious city, where they have the gun runners.
Okay. And, hold on, I got a thing here. Somebody called me something. As I said before, Portuguese redneck wannabe with nothing to say but read agreeing articles, unsubscribed. So this person actually lives in my town. This person
Hold on, Mike. You're done for. He's unsubscribed. What are you going to do?
I'm finished. No, but this guy has actually been harassing me and my family since I pretty much moved to town.
Well, you know what they say, Mike. You can talk to someone till you're blue in the face, but a fist is universal. You've got to stand up with your little boots and your big hat and go over and have a stern talking to him, I think. Yeah, well, no, there's
no point in that.
Legal protection, right?
No, there's no point in that because I've already tried. Look. I got, she put her video up, finally. Working on it.
Oh, good. It's good that people who have different views are putting up videos like that fella, Benkyo. He's very good. He puts up all sorts of interesting things. Should get him on the show, Mike. He's pretty good.
Yeah. So this guy's calling me a lying sack of shit. This guy has several fake. Which
part did they get right, Mike? The sack or the lies, or none of it?
Yeah.
Picking on you, Mike. I'm picking on you.
Yeah. So this guy's been a big problem for me since I moved to town. So he's been getting me on social media, YouTube. He's been getting me on Facebook. Man, he's been nonstop with this guy. And
remember, Mike, we've got to be persecuted for the truth. People like that will show up, and they do. They come out of the woodwork. Can be your own family, can be your friends. They'll all betray you if you've got the truth. Mm-hmm. Don't you? So stand tall. Stand 5'6" tall, Mike.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, Foreman Fist saying, Mike, I want to talk to your face. In all capital.
What does that mean?
In all capital letters. And then.
I read it.
Yeah, and then working on it, saying, I don't know why it was unlisted. So there's her video there, working on it, promised us she's going to put up videos on what is happening.
Yeah, with the secret detective glasses, right? She's got the camera glasses and she's undercover.
Oh, yeah.
She's got sunglasses on, indoors.
Yeah, we're going to use her going into secret areas that, she could sneak into for us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you've got to be careful, though, because she's a lady. She should really go, with at least 2 other people, because you know how homeless are when they think they're being made fun of. They get quite aggravated. Mm-hmm. Or just drug addicts, for that matter. You can't really predict what a drug addict will do. Mm-hmm. So, beware, young ladies. Be careful.
So, Foreman Fist is saying, if you aren't talking in capital letters, you aren't talking.
Oh, yeah, the all caps argument. That's true.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think your commenters are generally all right, Mike. You get some good people in there. I'm there occasionally in two people, arguing with myself. Oh. And if it's not Kevin, somebody else.
So, okay, Evan, what else do you see brewing? What do you see brewing?
How about we go slightly theological? All of the churches have more or less been converged. If you're a religious man, and I know you are, you should be very worried about the implications of Vatican II.
Mm-hmm. So what
are your thoughts on the Vatican, Mike?
You know what? I really don't. It's so far out of reach. I don't follow it. I just don't, to be honest, I just don't care what's happening in the Vatican, because...
Well, they aren't your leaders, right?
Yeah, the religious leaders, yeah, but they do convey messages down the line to the priests and the bishops and the cardinals.
Oh, yes, most certainly. But what I'm saying is, would you say you put your faith in the Pope of Rome, or do you put your faith in Christ?
Well, obviously in Christ.
Exactly, so... you've got the Martin Luther view of the Vatican then. But, it's quite sad because this convergence is happening everywhere. You've got female bishops, you've got transgender bishops, you've got everything rotting the church to the core. My advice for people is, don't worry about the church. If you have the truth, find people who have the truth, and then you are church. Don't worry about these organizations that suck up like a vacuum cleaner all your money. Don't do that. Don't. What is it? A fool in their money are soon parted. Yes?
Yes,
and a lot of people, a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with this apostolic reformation. I don't know if you know about that. Do you know about the NRA? NAR, sorry.
I know the NRA. I don't know. What's the NAR? I know the NRA. What's the NAR?
Well, it's slightly different. Basically, they're going to create an umbrella corporation of all these churches who are basically heretical churches. Who would be a good example of someone like that? Well, think of any of the televangelist churches that are on American television.
Jimmy Swaggart.
That's one. There you go. Keep going. What's that Protestant guy? I forget his name. He's always smiling. Canadian guy, I think. He's always on Oprah. He deals with the Protestant churches, but his name's escaped me, sadly. But most of those people who are on television are quite literally deceivers. You've got to be careful.
So are you trying to say... Okay, well, hold on a sec. So you're trying to say you watch Oprah?
No, but I watch enough of everything that I've watched everything, if that makes sense. People send me stuff all the time, Mike, and I go, oh, yeah, that's interesting. It's like movies. It's much quicker to read the movie than it is to watch the movie.
Right.
Movies go 3 hours these days. Infinity War, what was that? 2 days worth of movie I had to watch, and it was terrible. My last gift to my brother before I was exiled. But anyway. Yeah, films aren't getting any better. They're getting longer, and they're justifying higher budgets, higher ticket prices, and people go watch them. People go to church, higher budgets, higher ticket prices, and people still watch them. Same pattern. No business like show business, Mike. You know the song.
I want to ask you something. Something real quick.
Oh, good.
What was the last movie you went to go see in the movie theater?
I told you, Mike. I just told you. Jeez, Mike, pay attention.
No. I heard you...
Infinity War was the last one.
Yes,
the Avengers Infinity War.
Okay. The last movie I went to see in theater, I think, was Titanic.
No, that's not a good movie either. Except for the I like practical effects, Mike, like Predator and Alien. They're actual, latex puppets, that kind of thing. It looks a lot better than the CGI garbage they're vomiting out rapidly. Everything's on a green screen and just doesn't look real. No,
that's right. Okay, Evan, buddy, it was really good to have you on, bud. We've been talking for quite a while. I'm going to have Anon on the show.
It's a good choice.
Anon's on the show. He's going to tell us 10 reasons why he's leaving Sydney, Australia, and what is happening with him on the ground there.